Manifestation starts unfolding at the moment when you stop forcing reality to obey you. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to our nervous system and Neville Goddard's lecture when we explore his teachings with nervous system lens. As usual, if you want the entire chapter reading, here's the card on the screen. You can click there. Today, we will explore chapter 16, Personal Impotence. It's a very important chapter. It is not about weakness here. It is not about giving up, because we know that Neville Goddard, he likes naming things. He likes expressing in certain way that it's sometimes being very theatrical. So this chapter is about realizing something much deeper. You cannot force a state into reality. You cannot overpower manifestation through effort, like physical and mental effort. And your system will eventually reflect what you yield to internally. This is an interesting chapter. So let's begin. Self-surrender is essential, and by that is meant the confession of personal impotence. I can of my own self do nothing. John 5:30. Self-surrender, yes. So people hear surrender and they kind of think, this is a weakness, this is passivity, this is helplessness. It means doing nothing. They're being dramatic here, right? And Neville is not saying you are powerless. He is literally saying that you cannot control reality and force reality against the law of consciousness. You have to abide by the law. So you're not impotent to manifestation. You are impotent to forcing it. Very big distinction. Very big. Since creation is finished, it is impossible to force anything into being. So you are not creating possibilities from scratch. Everything is finished. He is known for this phrase, right? Creation is finished. You're aligning with states that already exist, the embodied state. So your actually job is to embody this state. So this changes manifestation completely through this phrase, because force comes from the belief that I need to make this happen, otherwise it won't come. I have to be in control here. I have to control the reality, right? But assumption works differently. You cannot control the reality. You don't force your state into existence. You enter it, you occupy it, you embody, you exude it. So, the example of magnetism previously given is a good illustration. You cannot make magnetism, it can only be displayed. You cannot make the law of magnetism either. If you want to build a magnet, you can do so only by conforming to the law of magnetism. In other words, you surrender yourself or yield to the law. I love how he writes it. So you do not invent the law of magnetism here. You conform to it, right? Easy. I mean, same goes with manifestation. You cannot out-effort the nervous system. And yes, I linked nervous system because guess what? Nervous system is the magnet that attracts experiences, people, circumstances, things to your field of existence. Your nervous system, not your mind, not your thought. Because your nervous system is already including many minds in every chakra of your body. Even Dr. Joseph Murphy stated the exact same thing. He stated this about solar plexus, that your solar plexus also is the mind, is your subconscious mind. So actually you cannot move your body without that being activated. So your mind is actually the projection of your nervous system as well, not the other way around. So you cannot repeatedly force your body into a state it still experiences as, for some, maybe unsafe or maybe unfamiliar. So manifestation is not domination here. It is alignment. So Get rid of the thought, I have to control it. I control the reality. No, you don't. You don't. Life will humble you a lot. If you will, like in a big way, if you will keep saying that you will make reality conform. No, reality responds. You do not control it. Sooner you control the people, the circumstances, the events, it aligns with you and you're rather welcoming it. You see, what I actually noticed, that manifestation is rather not co-creating or welcoming even something as per se. It's rather stripping yourself from all those limitations that are actually incongruent with your ideal. So whatever creates the resistance between, like, to welcome that, this is what needs to be eliminated. So it's not something to add, it's rather something to remove. Okay, so in like manner, when you use the faculty of assumption, you're conforming to a law just as real as the law governing magnetism. You can neither create nor change the law of assumption. It is in this respect that you are impotent. You can only yield or conform. And since all of your experiences are the results of your assumptions, consciously and unconsciously, the value of consciously using the power of assumption surely must be obvious. And it's true, it's obvious. This is why people burn out trying to manifest. Trying to manifest. Because they try to convince themselves, convince the world itself, repeat harder, visualize harder, affirm harder, right? Believe harder, trusting the process blindly, controlling every thought, and meanwhile, their system still remains in certain, I would call it, so restraint. So the system is resistant to that which they want to welcome. So nervous system doesn't respond to force, you guys. It doesn't respond to repeated robotic affirmations. It responds to what feels familiar, what feels safe to embody, and what sustainable to hold. So force creates internal conflict. You're actually furthering apart from the manifestation if you introduce force. So you should introduce embodiment. This is the key here. Willingly identify yourself with that which you most desire, knowing that it will find expression through you. Yield to the feeling of the wish fulfilled and be consumed as its victim. Then rise as the prophet of the law of assumption. I mean, come on, he has a fantastic way of wording it so beautifully. So whether consciously or unconsciously, your assumptions are already organizing experience. So your body follows what you repeatedly return to internally, either in your thoughts or either within expression of your body, contraction, feeling unease, right? This is because your body is your mind, so it expresses every resistance or welcoming it. So this is very important. Your dominant state shapes your experience. Again, I'll repeat. Dominant state, not the one that you just repeat and then forget or occasionally affirm. No, dominant state shapes your experience, not your occasional effort. And about effort, I also noticed that many people try to force themselves, approach visualization even as a duty, meaning when they fall asleep, they try to loop exactly the same scenes just for the sake of manufacturing emotional states. Here's the thing. I want you to answer me this question. Actually, if you really feel so good within your desire, why do you need to convince yourself by manufacturing emotional states? Why do you need to convince yourself to even have the desire? It's not your desire. Here's the thing. Something you thought. It's rather a borrowed thing. It's just the idea. It's something you identify yourself. Because if you need to convince yourself of that desire and constantly manufacture scenes, constantly manufacture those emotions, Perhaps it's not your desire, really. Maybe it's something, maybe because people, when they discover manifestation path, they identify themselves rather as someone who always constantly manifests rather than the one who lives his life and expresses. Because sometimes when they manifest, they're just busy manifesting this based on their images. So when the door opens, they do not know how to move because they're just so rigidly fixed on that idea. They do not know how to move, even if that door moves, actually brings them to the desire. So this is interesting observation you can actually embody. All right. And I like what he said about yield to the feeling of the visual field and be consumed as its victim, then rise as the prophet of the law of assumption. So people hear this and they might even think, force emotion, huh? I have to yield to it. So I'll stay positive. I'll not allow myself those resisting thoughts or some painful patterns to appear or memories, because I want to feel positive. I want to force emotion. I want to maintain a high vibration. It doesn't work that way because it's actually overriding your body, which is not good because your body is the signal, is the beaming magnet that leads you there. So if you always override your body, you will miss the steps how to attain that. You regulate your body, strip yourself from all those patterns that actually still within you if you feel like there's something repeating. Okay? Yielding really means stop fighting the state, stop resisting it, stop arguing with it, and stop checking against reality. You just have to trust and move when it's really, smoothly, like when it's smoothly presented, okay? So you do not hold the state by force. You stop fully pulling yourself out from that state. That's easily. So yes, again, it's not something to add, not another technique, another vision, another view on life, another understanding what manifestation is. No, it's something to remove within the system, something that you keep repeating unconsciously. I mean, I'm sure everybody has it. I've dismantled so many patterns and there are still patterns. And it takes time. It might be not initially comfortable, but hey, sometimes this leads, not sometimes, but for sure, it leads you to the reality that you will feel so mad with. You will be mad by that reality. Instead of you leaning towards it, you will be mad. And this is such a beautiful feeling to be mad. Finally, in this life, you no longer perform, you're just being mad. And the world wants to meet you, so allow it meet you. So, yes, I want to say that, yes, this is the deeper layer that Neville points to indirectly, actually. In here, your system is always trying to return to what feels most like you, embodied you. So when a new state feels unsafe, unrealistic, or unfamiliar, uncomfortable even in a way, many people snap back into the old one. Let's not be those people, okay? Again, it's not because the new state failed, it's because the old state still has the hold of that person, it still feels more natural to them. So this is why manifestation stabilizes through gentle repetition. It's never pressure, because force creates friction, you guys. Your reality organizes around what your system stops resisting. And force is resisting power, actually. So for the exercise, very important, what I want you to do tonight, notice where you are still trying to force manifestation. And I'm not talking about intellectually here. That's the thing. I want you to notice it physically, meaning tightness in the chest, urgency, overreaching, mental repetition, over planning, over orchestrating, or perhaps a lack of action. okay? Postponement, or lack of action out of fear, out of detachment. Detachment, don't play even that game, because the world can show you what detachment means. And it ain't gonna be pretty. So please try to understand that you do not approach manifestation as a technique just because you've read it and it felt impressive. No, approach it only with a lens that actually resonate with you, with your body. Your body will always give you answers. So when you ask yourself tonight, what would this state feel like if I no longer needed to force it? Close your eyes, just bask in the feeling, and bring one simple, I don't know if you are into visuals, bring a visual or bring the feeling, but always concentrate on the emotions, or rather expressions that your body already has towards that idea. So it should not be dramatic, it should be just normal. And this is the good sign. It's not dramatic. Your body is not activated. It feels receptive. Receptivity is never activation. So stay there for as long as you can, and return it to it over the days and every night, especially falling asleep with that feeling. This is a very good exercise, actually. It also is entertaining. Okay, so the softness really matters more than intensity. So do not try to overbuild the next steps. Just bask in the end result. So I hope you liked it. I hope you guys really liked and resonated with this subject, with this chapter, because I really want to understand that it's not about passivity. It's rather about manifesting as a law, and force creates resistance. We have to understand that, and assumption works through embodiment, not control. Actually, never control. So the moment manifestation stops feeling like a fight, this is the time we actually can have a space to embody it. So leave a comment if you like it, and subscribe, put a like. I hope to hear anything from you, perhaps some disputes, some discussions, some questions, maybe some beautiful stories you can share with us, and I would love to read it. And I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.